What's going on, people? We are Tottenham TV, back here for some more content for you guys, and a happy deadline day to everyone out there, especially to those ones doing their business today, which is probably not going to be Tottenham Hotspur, seeing as we look like we are probably done for the day already.
And people don't have to tune in anymore. You can stop watching now. We're done for the day. Should have just led up to it. And end of the stream, you say we're done for the day.
keeping you on a rope. That's what we're going to be doing for the rest of the day. But what we're going to be doing today on today's stream, we're going to keep you up to date on the latest going on in the transfer window, and we're going to be getting you guys on to have your say, and I want to know your opinions on how you think Spurs have done in this transfer window. But let's get into the headlines first and foremost, and let's start off with Pedro Porro once again. The Daily Porro is back, potentially for the last time for this year. And let's start off with Record Portugal, and they say Tottenham will sign Pedro Porro on an initial loan deal worth €5 million and have the obligation to buy him $42.5 million plus 15% of Marcus Edwards' future transfer fee. Quite interesting. I didn't know it was a loan deal when we were talking about it yesterday, but that's come to light today. And Mike McGrath says Pedro Porro pressured Sporting into accepting a deal with Tottenham, as the wingback had his heart set on the move to the club, and he was pictured by the media in Portugal flying out to London late last night, and he was interviewed by the press there. And a little clip of the interview says he's grateful to Sporting, he loves the club, and he didn't train because he was just so focused on Spurs, and he'll always be grateful to Sporting. And last but not least, on Pedro Porro, as it stands, there are no expected first-team additions after Pedro Porro. But finally, we got our man, and we're going to see the announcement today. Obviously, we'll bring that to you. But what's your thoughts on it being a loan with an obligation to buy?
Yeah, a lot of people seem to be quite angry about it. The fact that
why would anyone be angry about it?
For some people believe that if we're delaying the fee to the summer, then Levy can use that as an excuse to not spend money in the summer, because with the Kulusevski money, Porro has to start coming out in the summer as well, and they're worried that this money is going to come out of the summer budget, which means we're going to have less money in the summer to spend on players. But what they got to realise is if we can do loan to obligations now and delay the funds coming out, then we can do loans to obligations in the summer as well. And I don't think it's going to affect the summer budget. I don't see why it would. But an interesting tidbit from Ali Gold as to why this was a loan with an option to buy. He says, on the Pedro Porro deal, I understand it's been done that way to fit in with Sporting's financial commitments. They need it to show in the next financial year, so the two clubs found a solution to still be able to sign a player now rather than wait until the summer. He said, had heard suggestions in the past month that Man City would get more from Sporting if Porro was sold within a certain time frame. I wonder if true, whether this also works around that to an extent for the Portuguese club. So, well, I guess maybe, he's talking it from a Spurs point of view. Maybe this is the information Spurs want to get out there, but he's claiming that it's to benefit Sporting, why it's a loan with an option to buy, and in terms of what timing the funds are coming out. So I wouldn't necessarily think it affects Tottenham's budget in the summer or anything like that. Obviously, it's not too. I don't think it makes too much of a difference. We're signing him permanently. It's an obligation, not an option to buy. So seems as though this one is definitely going to happen permanently. The loan fee is €5 million, and then €42 million apparently, the full fee. So for me, it doesn't make too much of a difference. I don't know why people are speculating about it affecting the summer budget, but I'm just delighted that we've identified a upgrade in the position at right wing back, and we've gone out and actually got him through the door. And although it's taken a while, and although we could have got it done quicker, I'm delighted that we finally, it seems like there's a strategic approach to actually getting him through the door and actually moulding the team to get the best out of itself in a way, so it's most functioning. And I think a lot of the times we haven't done that, but I think getting Porro, considering we had 3 right wing backs already at the club. I think in previous years we wouldn't have done this deal in January with the excuse of, well, we have this player, we have that player, and we're going to have to make them leave before signing anyone. But I'm happy that we've gone for our top target, we've got him through the door, and hopefully he'll be a massive game changer in that position in the second half of the season.
Yeah, to be fair, it's the same that's followed on from the summer, to be honest, because we brought in midfielders in the summer when we still had Lo Celso and Ndombele on the books, and we got rid of them later on in the window. So I do think that it has started to turn maybe from the summer window, but it's definitely positive news that Porro has come in before we got rid of any other right backs. Definitely agree with that. On the situation about the loan with an obligation to buy, I mean, some of our best signings in the recent years have been loaned with obligation to buy. When you look at Kulusevski, you look at Romero, and now you're looking at Pedro Porro. So I have no problem with it whatsoever. And the way we're doing our business at the moment, it looks like probably if we're going in the market in the summer, which obviously we will be, you'll just see more loans with obligations to buy. And I don't have a problem with it. As long as they have obligations in them, then they're going to be our players. And when you're talking about eating into the budget, you're either eating into January's budget or the summer budget. Who knows? They might be just the same budget anyway. So nobody knows the actual dealings with the finances and how Spurs are kind of working through that. So I think what it is that people, including us sometimes, just like to have a stick to beat Daniel Levy with. And whether that's right or not, we all know the failings that he's had over the past years. And look, this January transfer window, we brought in a great signing in Pedro Porro, a decent backup option in Dan Juma, but in my opinion, it's still not enough. So if you're going to beat Daniel Levy with a stick, don't beat him with signing Pedro with an obligation to buy. Beat him with not signing any centre backs this January. That's my opinion. So you got to pick your arguments, and signing Pedro Porro, which could arguably be one of our best signings in the last few years, where he had to come in and save the deal. So you got to give credit where credit's due. But where you don't give him credit, and where you definitely have to beat him with, is not bringing in a centre-back this window, because I think that's the main sticking point. But in terms of Pedro Porro, brilliant signing, brilliant deal, and very much looking forward to seeing him play. Let's move on to other right wing-backs now, and Matt Doherty. This came as a bit of a surprise to us today. Matty Moretto broke it, said Tottenham will loan Matt Doherty to Atletico Madrid. Dan Kilpatrick says Matt Doherty is in Madrid to complete a straight loan to Atletico until the end of the season. No option or obligation. And last but not least, Romano said Atletico are set to sign Matt Doherty on loan from Tottenham. Here we go. Agreement in place. No buy option clause included. Medical booked for Doherty, who's set to leave as Porro will join Tottenham. So for the second half of the season, Atletico Madrid are going to have Reguilon on the left, Doherty on the right, basically back to Jose ball.
Unbelievable. I'm really surprised by this move, and that Doherty, that first of all, Atletico have really come in for him. I'm not that surprised at Doherty. I'm sure he's probably been told, look, second half of the season, you're surplus to requirements with Porro going out the door, coming in the door, sorry. So it's either leave or you're going to get very limited game time, and it's only a 6-month straight loan deal, so no obligations or options to buy. So he's going to be back here in the summer anyway. So it makes sense from his point of view to put him to as well work under Simeone for 6 months. I think there are pros and cons to in terms of where we are in the squad to this deal. I think the pros are that if with Porro coming in, if we needed to keep one attacking wing back and one defensive wing back, it makes sense to let Doherty go, keep Emerson as well. Emerson can play in some of the big games if we need a more defensive-minded wing back. And we have obviously Porro now coming in when we're looking to be a lot more offensive, and so we have a bit of options. If we were to get rid of Emerson and keep Doherty, then you could argue that we don't have that kind of defensive option if need be. And Porro can fill that kind of role now from an offensive standpoint, and Doherty wasn't really doing it anyway. On the drawbacks, I would say Doherty can play both wings. He can play left and right if need be. He is probably a better wing back right now than Emerson, although Emerson has been improving of late, but I do think that Doherty for us has been a bit more effective, especially going forward. And obviously he's good mates with Harry Kane, so that'll be a disappointment for him, but that's by the by. I think by and large, it's a deal that makes sense for everyone. I'm not too upset about it. Obviously, we're letting go in Spence as well, so that's 2 wing backs out the door. I'm not too bothered about it because I don't think long term Doherty was ever going to be a wing back for us or for Conte. I do think he did well filling in. I did think he was a good stopgap for a bit. He did very well for a bit of patch of form last season, and then this season there were signs of him getting back to his best without him really threatening to do so. So I do think that it's a great move for him, and maybe you saw what good it did Trippier going over to Atletico Madrid and getting game time there and playing under Simeone, becoming a better wing back. So maybe you could argue Doherty could benefit in the same way. I do think it's going to be a different case, and I don't think he's going to be as much as a success that Trippier was, but I'm sure he'll benefit as a player overall anyway.
Yeah, I think, look, it's good for him, it's good for us. I don't think Doherty ever reached the heights that we ever thought he would from that signing from Wolves. I just remember both of us being so excited when we signed him, one of the leading wing-backs in the Premier League at the time, and it just hasn't worked out for him for one reason or another. Injuries stifled him massively last year. 31, going to be 32 by the end of the season, and when he comes back here, he'll be entering in his last year of his contract. So we've probably seen the last of Matt Doherty at Spurs, in my opinion. And just thanks for the service, and wish you all the luck at Atletico. I don't think he's gonna, really push on his career now, like Trippier did. I do think that maybe Reguilon can. Now he's starting to get into the team and get minutes now. I think Reguilon can definitely come on under Simeone, being he's got scope to improve. He's at a good age, but with Doherty, I think that, look, he'll just go there for 6 months. I don't even know if he'll get too much game time as well. Maybe he's just going to be a backup or something.
Yeah, because they got Molina there, who was starting right back for Argentina at the World Cup, and he was playing really well. I don't know how well he's playing for Atletico, but I can't see Doherty ousting him from the team as well. Another thing to consider, they were playing a back three at the beginning of the season, but since about October time, they've been playing a back four very consistently, Atletico, and they do play a back four in general under Simeone. So whether Doherty can be very effective in that system in a back four, we saw under Mourinho, he just wasn't really able to do it to a good standard, and his performances only really started to improve once he went back to his more familiar wing back role. So whether he can do that for Atletico remains to be seen. I don't think he has the technical ability that someone like Trippier did, which we knew when Trippier left to Atletico that all he needed improving was his defending, and he would be a top wing back.
And boy, he did that.
And he did that really well, and he always had an amazing ability on the ball, crossing wise, and his delivery in the final third was always top notch. Doherty's never really shown that for Tottenham, so I don't see him having the same kind of impact as Trippier did, in my opinion.
Yeah,
I actually think it's a pretty poor signing from Atletico, but I could be wrong. He could
agree.
do well.
No, I completely agree with you. I think that maybe La Liga might suit him a little bit more than the Premier League right now due to his age and stuff, but I still don't think it's going to be a great signing for Atletico. But let's talk about our other right wing backs. First of all, Emerson Royale. Dan Kilpatrick says Emerson made it clear that he did not want to leave the Premier League or London this month. But we don't have any information if anyone came in for him or anything. I would have thought that Emerson would have been a better signing for Atletico than Doherty would have been.
Well, 100%. I agree. More used to a back four. I think he's more used to Spanish football. He in Atletico's system, they don't need the wing backs to be that offensive, so that would definitely suit Emerson. He would have been a better signing, but. I'm happy. I'm happier that we've kept Emerson in a way, because I think it gives us more variety at wing back. I'd rather choose between Porro and Emerson than Porro and Doherty.
Yeah, completely agree.
So I'm pretty happy with that, even though Doherty's the better offensive wing-back than Emerson. I think Emerson provides an option just in case we need a more defensive option. So I'm happy that he's staying at the end of the day. Also, he's younger, 23, he's probably got a higher market value. And who knows, maybe with the competition of Porro can drive him on a bit. Maybe Porro can teach him to cross. That'll be nice.
But this is what we were saying in the summer, right, when we brought in Spence. Oh, it's so great. We're going to have an attacking wing-back now. We're going to have a defensive wing-back and hopefully ship Doherty out. Obviously, what's happened with Spence has happened with Spence. But I think now we're going to see that now with Porro and Emerson here. And I think it's two good options. I know everyone likes to clown on Emerson, and sometimes going forward, he definitely leaves us wanting. But I think
more than sometimes.
Yeah, more than sometimes. It's very true. But you look at in the big games. Even this year when we lost 4-2 to Man City, he had a really good game. Last year at Anfield, last year at the Etihad. In big games, he turns up for us, Emerson, in the games where back's against the wall and we're really asked to defend. I think Emerson really provides for us in those games. So I think in the summer, we should revisit the Emerson situation, potentially look to ship him out and bring someone else in. But for now, I'm happy with Emerson and Porro being our right wing backs from now until the end of the season.
Yeah, me too. And I think that there's good balance there. And I'm excited. I'm really, really excited to see Porro in a Spurs shirt and see what he can do at right wing back. But I think it's the right call for a choice to ship Doherty out, in my opinion.
Let's talk about Jed Spence now, the last of the right wing backs for today. And Romano says that Jed Spence has completed medical tests ahead of his loan move to Rennes, with contracts now set to be signed. Loan deal won't include any option to buy. Spence is convinced of his long-term future at Tottenham. And Ali Gold said that Atletico Madrid wanted to sign Jed Spence on loan, but the player turned down the move as he wanted regular football at Rennes.
Yeah, interesting, isn't it? Kind of makes sense that now that Atletico have gone for Doherty, that they were looking at Spence.
They just come shopping at us for all their right backs.
Yeah, it looks like apparently it might be an agent kind of thing, but I think that Spence is making the right call for his future. I don't like. Apparently, it was his decision to go to Rennes, and I think it's quite a mature decision to go to a club maybe less fancied or less of a name, where he might see Atletico coming in and get all excited and rush into a decision. But he's taken his time, he's assessed all the options, and he's seen a club like Rennes challenging for Champions League spots out in France, a team that's known for developing young players. He's going to get game time at a good level and to help his development. And I think it's quite a mature decision to go over to Rennes to really help himself. And I think it's going to be a good move for him. I think he's going to be in a system which suits him, plays a back three. He's going to be playing week in, week out. So at top level as well, we've got to remember, as much as Spence came with a high potential, he's still not, apart from the FA Cup games, he's still not played regularly at our top level. So playing at that level for Rennes, whatever kind of standard you think it is, I think it's going to really help his development. So I'm very excited about this deal. You could argue, beginning of the season, we had Spence, Emerson, Doherty, and Doherty could cover both wing backs, and now with Spence and Doherty out the door, are we short? I would say no. We've still got two on each side, which should be okay, but you never know if we could get unlucky with injuries, and all of a sudden selling Doherty and sending Doherty out on loan, you're thinking we are a bit short. You could have covered both wings, but I think we should be all right for that position. So hopefully Spence can learn from this and convince Conte next season that he's ready to step up for Premier League after 6 months in France.
Yeah, I think in the summer when we signed Jed Spence, Jed probably came here with the expectation to play a lot more than he has played, in my opinion, with what he's shown in the Championship and in the Cup games for Nottingham Forest last season and getting promotion, obviously. And I think that when these moves came about in the summer, he's done the right thing and thought about development first over anything else, because he's probably had a chat with Conte and the coaching staff, and they have told him how he needs to develop and what he needs to do to get into this Spurs side. And it would have been very easy of him just to go, Atletico are in for me, the shining lights of a massive club, and go, I'm going to go there. Look at the club. Look what club want me. But he's done it really clever. He's thought about his development first, and he's going to go to the place that is best for his development and where he's going to play the most. So I'm very happy with that about Jed Spence. And it shows maybe he's got good people around him and he's got a good head on his shoulders. So I'm very happy about that in regards to Jed Spence. But I really hope he has a successful loan out in Rennes, and we'll be keeping a very keen eye on him. And they're in the Europa League, so maybe he can knock out Arsenal again. Oh,
that would be nice. Imagine he comes up against Arsenal. That would be beautiful.
Yeah. Let's talk about potential centre-back incomings now for the remainder of the transfer window today. Alex Crook says Tottenham are considering a move for a centre-back on deadline day, but Ali Gold has pushed back on it. He says Tottenham want to sign 2 centre-backs in the summer, one on the left and one in the right or the centre, while they'll keep an eye out for any late opportunities to push one of those moves forward. That is deemed more unlikely at this point. And Tom Barkley says Pedro Porro is almost certainly going to be Tottenham's last senior signing of the day.
Yeah, there's absolutely no chance for signing a centre-back at this late hour, for the simple reason as how we do business. We do business to look for undervalued options in the window, or options that we can get for a cheapish price. We want to go for options in the January window, which we believe we can get for under the value of the true nature of the player, like we did with Bentancur and Kulusevski last season. But if to sign a centre back to really improve us right now, we need to sign a centre back who probably is one of the main centre backs for their current team, and to do that. When you wait to late in the window, you can't get these players out their clubs for under their market value. In fact, when you come on the deadline day of a window to a club who have a star player in their team, you have to play over the odds to get them in this day and age when you go late in the window, because these clubs are thinking, I need time to replace the player. He's a player that he's very crucial to our team as well, especially when you look at someone like Nketiah. He's very young. His value's only going to grow. So why would they let him go on deadline day for a cheap fee, unless they're desperate to sell? So you have to... So the only players you're going to be able to get are players that the selling club don't really want and are willing to let go of and are willing to take any sort of fee at the end of the window. And those sort of players aren't going to really improve us. So I don't see any logic on looking for centre-backs on deadline day and expecting them to improve us, because it just ain't going to happen, in my opinion. That's why I said I would test the water for Maguire, because he's the kind of option. He's homegrown. He's a centre-back that would improve us, in my opinion. And if they would be willing to let him go on loan, that would be a savvy deal for 6 months. I just don't see Tottenham signing any centre-backs of value at this late stage, because we're not going to pay over. We're going to have to pay over the odds to get one now, and we're not going to. We never do that. We're not going to do that. So I don't see any potential.
Well, we've had an update from Danny Kirimano. He says that Spurs are looking to do a deal with Max Kilman, with potentially Tanganga going the other way, as Lopetegui really likes Tanganga. I mean, what a great deal that would be.
I mean, I would love that, but I heard, I think that was the Spurs, and the Wolf, I think his name was, said that Spurs did make an approach for Kilman, but it was rejected. So that would make sense to that kind of information. I don't look, again, if you go in for Kilman at this late stage, you're going to have to pay over the odds, not under the odds, to get him in. He starts week in, week out for Wolves. He's a promising, well, I say promising, he's 25 years of age now, but he's definitely a very good left centre-back that would come into our side and improve that side. But Wolves aren't going to let him go very easily at this late stage. And again, if we were to go in earlier in the window, and there could have been a deal to be done, but at this late stage, they're going to turn around and say, look, either you pay a premium because it's very late in the window, or you're not getting him. And that we never pay premium, so I don't see it.
I mean, do you think we could get a deal done for him for something like 30 million plus Tanganga, 30 million plus Sanchez, 30 million plus someone?
I mean, depends how highly they rate Sanchez or Tanganga, but are we willing to go that high? Probably. I would like to think we should be willing to go that high, but no, I don't. I don't.
Little next to no money in this window.
I don't think that would get him in, to be honest.
Really?
Unless they rate Tanganga and Sanchez that highly, but I think Kilman, I think they probably want more money.
How much do you reckon he's worth to them?
Well, he's one of their main centre-backs. I think he came through their academy. Probably at 40 million, I would say. Yeah.
So 30 million plus a Tanganga would probably do the job.
Not necessarily.
They get a centre-back in replaced who's worth probably about 10, 15 million. And we'll give them 30 million as well on top of that.
I say it depends how highly they rate Tanganga, and because they need someone who's going to slot in straight away. And if they don't believe that Sanchez or Tanganga will do that in that role, then it's not going to be worth it for them.
Yeah, true. But let's talk about Tanganga now. As Alex Crook says, there is a bit of interest in Tanganga from Inter Milan on loan today. I mean, that would be a brilliant move for him. But I just can't see that happening at all. I mean, they've got such good centre-backs at that club. Why would they need Tanganga?
Yeah, unless they're looking for one who's got potential to come in and, grow with the team. Not replace Skriniar, but be a potential centre-back, like a youngish centre-back. Kind of the role he plays for Tottenham, but with more game time. Like a backup right now, but with potential in the future to integrate into the first team. Look, apparently he was very close, wasn't he, last summer to AC Milan, which they didn't quite pull off the deal. But if they need a backup centre-back, a loan deal isn't that unlikely, I don't think. But I don't see it happening before the end of the window, to be honest.
Yeah, me neither. Let's talk about Ollie Skip now. Ali Gold says Palace, Fulham, Leeds and Bournemouth are all keen to take Ollie Skip on loan. However, Conte is believed to have rejected any prospect of a loan move as he rates Skip very highly. And he also says a loan move away for Ollie Skip is considered unlikely at this stage as Pape Matar Sarr deals with an injury.
Yeah, and I'm happy to hear that. Obviously, we were saying at the beginning of the window we're quite open to Ollie Skip going on loan this January to get some game time, because it's going to be difficult for him to get that game time over the next 6 months with the midfielders in form right now, and also the fact that he wasn't playing too well. But he did have a very positive cameo against Preston. I've never doubted Skip's ability and quality, and it's great to hear that Conte rejected a loan bid because he believes in his quality, and maybe we'll see more of him in the second half of the season. You've got to remember he had a very long injury, and that injury clearly took a lot of getting over. You've got to remember last season he was always, every update was like, oh, he's a week away, and then it kept getting delayed up until the fact he got surgery. So that must have been very, very frustrating for him to go through that last season. And now he's come back this season, hasn't quite been the same just yet, but I just think he needs time and patience to build himself back to the level he was showing. And I'm glad that Conte is saying he really believes in him and he's not willing to let him go out on loan, because it just means he's seeing the quality that we're all seeing, hopefully. So I'm happy with that news, and I'm happy for him to stay on.
Yeah, and anyway, Jose called him a future captain at Spurs, so we all know that's going to happen, because Jose is always spot on in these kind of predictions. But last but not least, we do have a confirmed signing officially by the club is Jude Sunsop Bell from Chelsea. Romano says official, completed, talented striker Jude Sunsop Bell joined Tottenham on a permanent move from Chelsea. And the official statement is, we are pleased to confirm the addition of Jude Sunsop Bell to our development squad. Welcome to Spurs, Jude. The 19-year-old forward has signed from Chelsea and agreed a deal that will run till June 2025. Statement has confirmed. And he done a post on Instagram and says, extremely excited to have signed for such a great club. Can't wait to get started on this new journey. Looking forward to many years of success.
Yeah, let's hope he becomes a good player for the future. Going to have to watch and see how he develops. I don't see him breaking into the first team anytime soon, but we'll have to see.
They're going to loan him out next season.
Yeah, so keep an eye on how he does on the loan.
Yeah. All right. So that.
Yeah, and just quickly, Bruno Andrade saying now that Porro's currently doing his medical tests and he will sign the contract imminently.
All right, it's Porro Day, people. Get excited. Let's hope we can do something miraculous and bring in another signing as well before the deadline day in just under 10 hours. But I think it's time for you guys to have your say. So let's get into the callers.
Just quickly, before we bring in a guest, I put out a thing on Twitter. Let's play Ali Gold. Spurs are done for the day bingo. What time do you reckon we're thinking?
Yeah, I asked this question in the WhatsApp group last night. I think I said about I think I said 2 o'clock or something.
2 o'clock.
1:30 I said, but yeah, I think it might come a little bit later than that.
Later, you reckon?
He'll
push the boat out.
He'll keep us on the strings.
He'll string us along. I said 2:30 p.m, so I've got about another hour. No sign of him giving the Spurs are done for the day. Here we go.
He
yet.
hasn't said Spurs are done today, but he's already said it's very unlikely that we do bring anyone else.
So he's given us that kind of 0.1% of hope that maybe something crazy will happen. Dan Kilpatrick apparently is already saying he believes Spurs are done for the day. So it doesn't look likely at all that there's going to be any further business for Tottenham. But you look. Deadline day, weird things happen, so you never quite know. Doherty to Atletico came out absolutely nowhere, and within an hour it was done. So you never really know, but I do find it unlikely at this stage.
Get that Max Kilman deal done, Tottenham. Come on. But yes, let's get into the guests now. And our first guest, a very special guest, back on the channel. Everyone give him a round of applause. It is Grandpa Brian.
Come on.
Grandpa, how you doing? Welcome back.
I'm doing really great. I think before we start, I want to thank the 5,000 people on Twitter that wished me well. People I've never heard of and I don't know, but must have seen me on the channel. So I really want to thank them all. And they've helped me get through a bad operation. And I'm now clear of cancer, and ready to go.
Hey, fantastic news, Grandpa.
And you know what, Grandpa? It's actually nearly 6,000 now on Twitter that has liked the post. And also, it's not just that, but every time we were going live, people were sending you good wishes in the chat and everything like that. So you've had a lot of love thrown your way at this time.
It's fantastic, and I love that. And the who was the comedian that said he loved the channel?
Matt Lucas.
As well.
Matt Lucas, yeah.
Matt Lucas, Arsenal supporter. I mean, you can't get better than that, can you? And that was great. So I'm well. I'm very excited now because it's been almost like an illness with Porro. He's coming, he's not coming. He's coming, he's not coming. It's awful. And so in the hospital and him joining makes it a great day.
Yeah.
So I'm very excited.
Yeah, I mean, it's a very exciting.
Somebody else.
Yeah, I'm not sure whether we're going to do any more business this summer, this window, but the Porro deal, obviously he's going to be a big upgrade on that position at right wing back. It looks like Spence and Doherty have gone out the door as well. As of today, it looks like Matt Doherty's going over to Spain and Spence to France, both on loan deals. So with the reshuffle now for the second half of the season, it looks like we're going to have just Porro and Emerson for the second half of the season. Do you reckon that's good enough for us? Do you reckon that's the right choice, or would you have kept Doherty and got rid of Emerson?
No, I like Emerson, and he started off really well with us. He was my favourite player. He was man of the match of at least three or four games, and since Christmas, the 3 games he's played in very well. He's played well, so I would prefer to see him there rather than Doherty. And I think I'm really pleased about that. And the new guy that we've just taken has scored a goal already in his first match. You know, it's also great. Looks like it's going to be a great buy. Probably replace Mora eventually.
Yeah, what's your opinion on the window? Obviously, we've brought 2 players in. Is that enough for you? Are you happy with the window, or would you have liked to have seen more?
No, I think I would have liked to see more, but I like to see the right players. And I think if we have to wait, I think we've got a good team. Providing we don't get too many injuries, we've got a great team. It's only when we've had injuries that we've run into real problems. And so I'm very hopeful that we can move forward now with the season. And the City game, of course, is a big one. And I hope Porro will be able to play in that.
Yeah, they're saying he will be available for selection, so that's a good thing. Just the only thing I'm worried about going into the second half of the season is the same thing I was worried about the first half of the season. That was our defence. I think I'm a bit annoyed that we didn't bring in, or we're not going to bring in, a centre-back from now until the end of the window. But I am very happy with the 2 signings that we have brought in. Porro especially, I think he was everyone's number 1 choice. It's just the centre-backs really that I thought we could have pushed about out and got one in.
Yeah, you mean because of Dyer?
Dyer, Davis, Longley.
Yeah. Longley we still don't really know about. We haven't seen a lot of him. Dyer had a better game. Yeah, he put through some very good passes in the last game, I thought. Obviously it would have been better to have got a better centre forward, the centre back. But, you know, can't get the right player. It's better to wait till the next season. And I think there's 1 or 2 people that he's looking at already, isn't there?
Yeah, we don't have any particular names. Maybe Max Kilman of Wolves could be an option, who's a very, very good player, and English as well, which we need. But I guess it's just a waiting game to see who we do bring in the summer.
Yeah, Grandpa, let me ask you this, Grandpa. Let me ask you this quickly. If you're Antonio Conte, what do you think he's feeling about in the window? Do you think we've done enough to convince him that we believe in him? Or do you think, he'll be thinking, Spurs haven't done enough, they should have been doing more for me?
Well, if I was in Conte's shoes, I'd want to be at home with my family. I think that's his biggest problem at the moment. But I think that he's got Porro. that was one of his choices. It might make him good enough want to actually stay and see the season out, but might not sign the contract yet until later in the season. That's maybe the way he's going to play it.
All right, Grandpa. Well, what would you rate this window out of 10?
6, 7, 6, 7.
Yeah, I think I would give it a 5.5, maybe 5.5, something like that.
I think you've got to take into account also that all the players who were already bought.
Yeah.
They weren't at the beginning of the season. We bought them off through the season, so we got to look at the team as a whole, and I think that's what since Conte's been there, that's 4, 6 people he's brought in.
Yeah, maybe even more. Yeah.
Yeah, so I mean, it's almost the whole team.
Yeah,
so
but we're still. It's almost a full team except for the centre backs.
Yeah, I think that's right. And we've got to pray for no injuries.
Yeah,
I think absolutely. It's the injuries that do us more, because we didn't. And centre backs particularly, injuries to the centre backs, we've got nobody to back them up.
Yeah, exactly.
But we've got people to back Kane up now. We've got people to back Son up. Now we've got PORRO to back the right wing. So I think we're in a better position than we were. So yeah, I would give it a 7.
All right,
positive, Grandpa. I want to say, Grandpa, as well, the amount of people that came up, I was at Preston on Saturday, the amount of people that came up to me asking how you were doing and how your operation went. It was so many people, that like dozens and dozens of people coming up to me asking how you were. So everyone was wishing you a lot of good love and wishing you all the best. And they're great to see you back on the channel.
Well, that's amazing. I don't understand it because I know nothing about football. Okay, let you get on.
All right, cheers, Grandpa. Hopefully, we'll get to be able to see you soon. And thanks for coming on.
Okay, bye.
See you, Grandpa.
Always great getting Grandpa on, especially at this big occasion. But let's keep going, and we've got Alex Samuels back on. Alex,
hey guys.
We had the panic yesterday, Alex. We were going in a meltdown when you were last on yesterday, but we finally got our man. How are you feeling? I can see that big smile beaming.
Yeah, I said to you guys, I had a feeling this deal was going to happen. Because once the stuff came out about Daniel Levy getting involved, it just seemed like, it just seemed like something was going to happen. The two chairmen of the club started talking, and I had a feeling this would go through, and seems like I think he's signing the contract as we speak. So yeah, great news. I think it's something that doesn't happen too often for us with signings, where it's literally perfect. Someone for the future, someone for now, and someone who we can maybe in a few years sell on for even bigger fee. Something that appeals to Tottenham greatly. So I think it's really perfect. I think I only have one potential question mark about the signing, which is what if Conte leaves? I think that's it's a hard one because you're signing a player specifically for his system. I'm not 100% sure how he might perform in a regular right back role. Do you not think that he can perform in either role? Because for Sporting, isn't he playing in a back four for Sporting?
Back five, I think.
Oh, is it a back five?
It's back five.
Oh, fair enough.
Yeah, but it's a bit different to Doherty, where I didn't think Doherty has the physical capability to playing in a 4. But I think in a 5, because he has that protection there, he can be a bit effective going forward, positionally wise. But I think PORRO, he seems to be fast. He seems to be able to dribble. He's got all the qualities, in my opinion, to be a good wing back or right back. So I think if a new manager comes in, they could do something with him. And if not, and there's Spence there as well, there's stuff to work with. But I think a new manager should be able to work with him.
But I would say to you, Alex, Alex, I would say to you on the comment that you made before that this signing seems perfect, and it's not many times we do this. I mean, we have had signings come in and we've said the same thing about them before, like a Tanguy and Ndombele and players like that who seem perfect for us at the time, and they don't work out for whatever reason. But this one I am super confident on, I really am.
I think all the indications show, from the stats and from purely actually the player's happiness at joining the club. Like I can't remember the last time a player forced to move for us. Maybe Romero might have been playing a bit difficult at Atlanta. I'm not 100% sure. But yeah, it's been a while, and it's good to see a player look so happy when he arrived at the airport, ready to fly over Tottenham. I was on Flight Tracker looking at the flight last night. I think took off about 12:15 or something like that.
I was looking at that interview, and I was saying the same thing as you. Like, oh, what amazing! It's amazing to see what a big smile he has on face and how happy he is to join Tottenham. And I was like, I can't remember who I was saying it to. I think it was in a WhatsApp group saying, "We'll soon wipe that smile off your face, Pedro."
Oh, he better be ready to suffer like Kulusevski was when he came to Tottenham. Oh yeah, we've got some fun games coming up. I think that City game is going to be really interesting.
Let me ask you this. Yeah, let me ask you this, Alex. With Porro coming in, how much of a game changer? Let's say he is a good attacking wing back. Do you think it's a game changer when it comes to how effective Conte's system will be and maybe our style of play? Or do you think he'll maybe add a bit more attacking efficiency, but in terms of our ability to create chances or dominate matches and stuff, there's still a long way to go? Or do you think he's going to be a big change just for this one transfer?
I don't want to it's easy to overhype things and say, it's going to totally revolutionize the system. I do think he's going to be a really good player for us. I do think he's going to hit the ground running. Actually, I think at a minimum, what you can hope for is, we've seen, for example, Sessegnon, getting in decent positions, but just he can't put in that cross into the box, which we know when we get a good cross in, we can create a really good chance. And I think at a minimum, that's what we're going to be getting with Porro. And I think that is so crucial to Conte's system, having those wing backs being able to really get up the pitch quickly with pace and also put an accurate cross in. And if it's on the other side, get into the box, which we can also see. I think he likes to come in and sometimes sit on the front edge of the box sometimes. So, I think all of that together, it's very promising. And I'm not going to say it's totally going to revolutionise how we play, but I think it's just going to add a bit more of a cutting edge.
I think the audio has gone a bit crackly. I'm not sure. I'm not sure if that our end or not. Just halfway through your sentence that was happening, but let's just speak again. Let me just see if it.
Hello.
Yeah, it's a bit crackly now for some reason. Maybe try reconnecting, and we'll try and get you back on. People can't hear him. I don't know.
Is that better?
Yes. Yeah. Go back. That was better.
Hello. Sorry, I just took out my.
Yeah, that was better.
Okay. Cool.
The reason I ask about how much of a difference Porro will make, but it's because it was when Conte was asked about, I think it was after the Arsenal game, about the pressing of the team, and there does seem to be right now when the team are having a coordinated press, it does seem a bit disjointed at the moment. And he was asked about it. He said that, look, we do try to press high, but because of the characteristics of our defenders, he doesn't want to leave too much space in behind, and he has to adjust maybe the pressing to the characteristics of our defenders and stuff like that. Now, I'm sure Porro would help with that because he's quite an aggressive defender, and he will help pressing high. But will Conte look to maybe be a bit more aggressive with how we play, do you reckon, with him in the team? Or do you think because we haven't got a new centre-back, it's still going to be very similar?
Yeah, look, in Conte's system, the right wing-back is very, very attacking. And as I said, I do think with how we're playing, it's going to help us in putting those crosses in. I still do have major concerns with the centre-backs that we have. We've only probably one of them, and even Romero this season hasn't been, I don't think near the top of his game, to be honest. I mean, he has missed a few matches around the World Cup here and there. I think he can be better, though. I think he can get better. So I still do have some major concerns with the left centre back and other centre back role, and I do think that'll probably still keep Conte from fully unleashing his wing backs. And we'll wait to see Destiny Udogie in the summer come in, and hopefully that will, along with it, probably, I think we're expecting 2 new centre backs in the summer, which very likely. Well, we'll see.
We expected 2 new centre backs last summer as well, and that didn't quite happen.
We're going to see a summer transfer window like no other.
One can only hope. But
Alex, we'll Doherty on the verge of joining Atletico Madrid on loan. What's your thoughts about that deal and how that's going to impact our wing back options? Are you happy with that deal?
It obviously came out of the blue, and I'm not 100% sure. Most teams, I'd like to think, you've got 2 senior wing backs or right backs, whatever. That and left backs. So I do think having 3 with Spence going out is probably still a bit overkill. But obviously, Doherty's interesting because he covers both left and right, potentially. But, you do have Tanganga that can also play in that position if necessary. He might not be very effective, but it can happen. So, I'm actually probably more okay with it. And I think his wages are probably, I can't remember exactly, is he 60, 70,000 pounds a week?
Something like that, yeah. Something like that.
Something like that. It's a fair good whack of money that we're going to be saving over 6 months or so. So, I'm actually not too sad about it. And I think he's been a decent servant for the club. Maybe a bit too inconsistent at times, and obviously not what we thought we were going to be getting. Maybe not that's his fault, because obviously he came into he was playing a right back, wasn't he? A lot, when really he was suited as a right wing back. So
under Jose, yeah,
exactly. So I think it's the right time. I think it's the right time. We've been asking for these players to be moved out, and hopefully he can get a permanent move in the summer. I'm not sure. I think I have 1 year left in his contract after that.
Yeah, he'll be going into his last year. But what also is an option, Alex, is before the season started, Conte kept talking up Lucas Moura as a right wing back. Maybe with Lucas Moura returning, he could also fill in there if we're really down to our bare bones.
Yeah, we spoke about him yesterday and how, is it enough with Brian Hill going out on loan that we'll have Lucas there as well. I think it could be an option. I remember we played him in the pre-season friendly. I think he played there once in last summer. So, yeah, could be an option. But seeing as though we haven't seen it all season, Conte definitely thinks that as a last resort. It's probably safe to say. Of course, Lucas has been injured, but I don't think he would have played there regardless, to be honest. Especially if we've got defensive frailties, I'm not sure the answer is playing a right winger at right wing back. Potentially.
Yeah, I'm just saying if we're down to our bare bones.
Yeah, absolutely. Then that'll happen. But hopefully the injury gods will smile upon us. Our medical department won't be too full in the coming months. So as much as they'd love to be, because I'm sure they love it when they get a new So. Yeah.
Absolutely. Alex, what's your rating out of 10 for the window then? If it all stays the same.
The Porro deal, I think it's a big one. It was a really big one. Danjuma, I think, was probably a smart signing. I think it was opportunistic. I'd probably go. I'm between a 6.5 to a 7.
Do you reckon Conte's happy with the window?
Conte will never be happy with the window. No, I think he would have wanted a centre back. I think that's the key position, which is a problem. And in fairness, we are looking to the summer to sort that, but it could potentially be too late, and that would be a shame. But Tottenham work on these opportunities, and seemingly none of the targets we want are available or able to be got at the moment. So there's not much you can really say about it, to be honest, apart from pushing further. You know, other clubs have been frustrated in pursuit of number one targets. We've got ours. We have got our number one target this window. So,
Alex, your sound has gone really bad.
Oh, okay. We'll leave it there, guys. Then.
Right.
No worries.
Thanks for coming on, Alex. Speak to you soon, mate.
Thank you, guys. Thank you,
Alex.
See you guys.
Cheers. We've got a few super chats. One from DJ Samuel saying, "Should Spurs go for Conor Gallagher?" I asked you this on the car on the way in here today.
I mean, I don't think he's I think he's a good player. Do I think Spurs should go for him this window? I mean, it would be a bit of a waste of 40 million, in my opinion. Not a waste, but just unnecessary. Like, I don't see the need to go for him.
I mean, what does he bring to us if he came in?
Bit of
Definitely brings
ability in the
aggression,
middle.
that's for sure.
Yeah, a bit of ability in central midfield, maybe on-ball ability, which maybe we're lacking without when Bentacle's not there. Ability to play in a 3, versatile in a sense. Could play a bit further up maybe. Can play in centre mid. But I don't see him being a player that is necessary right now for us.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think he's totally necessary, but I would like to see us bring him in. I think he really is a top player, or can be a top player. But moving on to the next super chat is Luke Diamond. Big up, Luke, and says we had an old and tired squad, wanted a rebuild. Enter Paratici, Hill 20, Bentancur 24, Kulu 21, Romero 23, Rishi 25, Bissouma 25, Sarr 19, Adogi 19, Spence 21, Danjuma 25, Porro 23. We are not aimless. The project is clear. It's what we asked for.
Yeah, and those are reasons to be excited. We just need to get a lot of the older players who are not good enough anymore to get rid of them, and then all of a sudden, then the rebuild will be complete. We rely too heavily on a lot of players who are just not good enough, and that's a big problem. But these players, for sure, got a big future ahead of them. I think a lot of them, and are going to be a very big player for us.
Are you happy with the speed of the rebuild? Do you think it's going at the right pace, or do you think that maybe it's a bit too slow for your liking? Obviously, with the likes of Conte's future up in the air as well.
Am I happy with the speed of the rebuild?
Because let's say this rebuild started the summer Nuno came in. That's when it started, really. And that's when we started, when Paratici came in.
I think it's going okay. I think, look, like, if you compare when Nuno came in to where, like, Arteta first came in, like, you could argue it's going quicker than that. But then again, Arteta was like a newbie to the job. It took him a while to learn the ropes of being a manager and stuff. We already have a world-class manager like Conte at the helm, so you could argue it should take him quicker. But am I happy with I'm happy with the players we're bringing in. We're still getting all the right pieces together for the team, I feel, and it's still got a bit to go. But I'm pretty happy with the players that we've brought in. I think they're good quality. We could always be doing more, but depends. Depends where I want us to be. It's just it's like when you bring in a manager like Conte, he's not a manager for rebuilding. So it's like, do we want a rebuild? And that's the question we got to ask ourselves.
I think we had to have one. I think we left ourselves with no option.
No, but yes, but it depends what direction you go in. Like, for example, like when Man United signed Casemiro, right, under Ten Hag, is that for rebuilding, or is that for building for Ten Hag to immediately improve the team? So like, it depends what direction you're going in. With these young players, obviously this is the future in mind, and this is for like building a team for the long term, not just for now. But then you also need players for now as well to satiate Conte. So it's a difficult one in that sense as to what we want. That's the question. But I'm happy with the players we brought in. I think they're good quality, and a lot of them are going to have a big future.
Yeah, I mean, these players that we've brought in, I mean, a lot of them, if we bought these players or players of that ilk under Pochettino when he called for that rebuild, it would have been a great rebuild, wouldn't it? Mm-hmm. And under Conte, it just doesn't work out that way, because he needs players that are ready-made, ready to go right now, that are ready to step in, not just potentials. So, yeah, it's a difficult one, but I guess we'll get your opinions on it.
Some news coming out of Bayern Munich and Man United. Looks like Man United are going to be replacing Eriksen with Marcel Sabitzer.
Is that a done deal? Is it?
Looking like it's getting there.
Wow, it's a great
They've
deal
gone for a 6-month loan deal, so fair play. That could be a very good deal for them. Considering Eriksen is likely to miss a lot of the remainder of the season, getting someone like that is going to be a good deal.
Great deal. A super chat from Clamber1000 saying Kane at centre back. That's all it says.
Kane at centre back, yeah, get him. Yeah, you can't do any worse than what we have.
And Philo123, come on you Spurs, says Porro and Danjuma equals top 4 and FA Cup. Centre backs needed. Come on you Spurs.
Yeah,
I think our chances of a top 4 this season are good, to be fair.
if we can get Dyer to stop doing consistent clangers again, we can get Davis getting back to the levels he was training last season, and then obviously get Porro as quickly acclimatised as quickly as possible. Then I do think we've got good chances of top 4. We're still in there. Hopefully our form can really turn around from where it was the first half of the season, and we got a good chance. But it's going to be a tough fight.
Of course it is. Of course it is. And when you look at our competitors, Manchester United, Newcastle, potentially Chelsea coming up there as well. I think we stand ourselves in good stead. Only 3 points outside the top 4, and I do have a feeling Newcastle, however good they've been this season, might just miss out and draw too many games. And they've never been in that situation before, so I think they might just miss out this year, Newcastle. But I'm going to go for Spurs to make the top 4 this year. But anyway, let's keep going and let's bring on Mikey.
Hey guys.
How you doing, Mikey?
Yeah, good. Just had a first lecture today, so it was long, but I'm back. I'm here. So yeah, I'm happy that the Porro deal has not collapsed overnight again. So
yeah, literally. I mean, we were like crying with each other yesterday about the Porro deal falling through, and all of the Spurs fans getting very irate about the news. But it has happened. He is at Hotspur Way now doing his medical. So, what's your feelings around the Porro deal now?
Everything that we said yesterday still rings true about Levy, about the ownership, about the deal. But it is nice to know that the deal was resurrected. Obviously, credit where credit's due. Levy stepped in and got the deal done. So, one thing, we said yesterday he's a businessman, not a football businessman. I still do believe that, but he is it would be wrong of us to label him an idiot. He's a very shrewd person, and he knows what he has to do to get what he wants. So that has been necessarily used to our advantage here, but it's also been to our detriment a few times as well. So let that not
quite a lot of times, Mikey.
I'm still happy with the signing, regardless of my feelings towards the ownership.
Do you think he comes in straight away against Man City to the starting lineup?
I think he'll be on the bench. It's almost customary to put new signings on the bench. I think, I think. My guess would have been Doherty to start pre-today, but now it looks like he may start Porro, and if Porro impresses in training, then he might. But obviously, he's coming off a cup final loss, forcing through the move. He wanted to come here, so he'll be fresh. It's not like he's played. It's not like he'll be playing a game midweek. But I think Conte might just take a couple. What's the game we have after Man City? I think it's Fulham.
Leicester.
If my Leicester. So yeah, I mean that seems like a perfect. I think Porro will make an appearance, but I have a feeling just because it's Man City, he may opt for Emerson, but I want Porro to start. That's what I want. I want Porro to start, but I wouldn't be surprised.
In terms of the Doherty deal, is that one that you're happy with? Are you happy to let him go for 6 months and keep Emerson around, or do you think maybe we're making a mistake?
I think we're making a mistake with this. I think Doherty offers cover on both sides. Admittedly, yes. I think Spence loan was the right option, and I would have said you've got. Perisic and Cess on one side, Emerson and. Can you guys hear me?
Yeah.
We're listening.
Hello. Has he gone?
Poor
No,
connection.
my internet's being weird. Sorry.
Maybe try get him to reconnect. Maybe we'll move on for now. Is he there? He can't hear us. Well, Mikey, try reconnect. We'll try and get you back on.
Do we have anyone else to come on? No? I can hear Mikey now. Bring Mikey back on, see if it's working. Mikey, can you hear us?
Right, I've restarted my connection. I hope it's all good.
Can you hear us?
I can hear you. Yeah, I can hear you.
Yeah. It's all good. We can hear you. We can hear you. We can hear you, Mikey.
Calm.
Go on, Mikey. Carry on with what you were saying.
So, as I was saying, I think it's really interesting to see how, Doherty leaving and Spence leaving, of all the right backs we have at the club, the one we wanted most to leave is the one that's ended up staying, and that for me is that is the Tottenham way. But I'm still a little bit perplexed by the deal to let Doherty go. Spence would have been fine, but having two specialised right wing backs, two specialised left wing backs, and having Doherty's cover on both sides seems like a really, really good situation to find yourself in. Doherty, of all teams, Atletico Madrid doesn't, Doherty, as we've established, is not a defensively sound fullback, shall we say? And Atletico Madrid, no matter how perilous their season's been, their defense is still the reason that they're in the position they are now. Well, and Griezmann, but yeah, it's a little bit of a strange. It's just a strange move all around, really. Of like an Irishman playing in La Liga. I'm not sure if that's ever been done before, so that'll be quite an interesting thing to watch. But power to him. If it worked with Trippier, why can't it work with Matt Doherty? But I don't know. It just seems like an odd move for everyone concerned. So yeah,
it is an odd move. I mean, Matt Doherty's agents must be working overtime at the moment. He must have the best agents in the world to get him a move to Atletico, to be honest. But let's finish off with this. And what would you rate the window out of 10?
I'd probably give it a 5 or a 6. You're letting Hill go out on loan to Spain doesn't represent good business to me. Letting we were oversaturated at right wing back. Now somehow we're undersaturated there now. I would have obviously, I guess maybe his thinking is that he's got Porro, who is the very attack-minded one, and Emerson, who can kind of, I won't say defensively sound, but is probably, you'd consider it like having maybe Aaron Wan-Bissaka at the club, having a more defensive option, a more physical defensive kind of cover there. So I guess he's gone one attacking, one defensive, and worst comes to worst, Perisic can play on the right, because Perisic can play anywhere, it would appear. Perisic might jump in on the right. You've got Tanganga, who's played there in the past. Deki or Lucas Moura could even, as we've seen on occasion, jump in. So it's not the worst feeling in the world, but we've only got two specialised right backs, and one of them is not great. So I'm worried about leaving ourselves a little bit undersaturated there. And centre back, obviously, problem area that we haven't strengthened. But I'm just waiting for the shirt being held up. Just waiting.
It's coming, and obviously we'll bring it to you here whenever that does happen. But Mikey, thank you so much for coming on today, brother, and we'll speak to you soon.
Thank you, guys.
See you, Mikey.
Guys.
All right. Anything else to report, Sim? Until we move on to the next guest.
Not at the moment. Apparently, Barcelona are making a late bid for Sofian Amrabat from Fiorentina, but there's a deal in the works there. But it looks like, yes, Sabitzer could be on his way to Man United on a big deadline day move. And just as we thought that, Eriksen could be a big blow, they seem to have rectified it very quickly.
Yeah, why can't we bring in a last-minute deal, man? Where's our last-minute deals? Come on, Max Kilman, bring him in. Come on. Let's bring on our next guest, Ashmatic. Yes, Ashmatic. How you doing, my man?
Yes, boys.
You good?
Yeah, I'm good, man. How are you guys?
Yeah, all good.
Yeah,
I mean,
bro.
it
I'm
was.
good. Can you hear me?
Yeah, all good. We can hear you well. I mean, we went through it a bit yesterday with Porro being off, Porro being on, but we're getting our man. He's here at Hotspur Way doing his medical. Run me through your thoughts, man.
What is the deal? I wanted to know. Is it a loan deal?
It's a loan with an obligation.
Is it a loan? Is it official? Yeah. No, I'm happy. Don't get me wrong. I just thought we were gonna just sign him like off the back, but obviously there's been a few issues with that. I think that's the reason why we've had
Does
to
it matter
loan him
too
in
much?
first, and then. No, to be fair, it doesn't. It was just interesting. Obviously, Levy stepped in, and now like Levy's looking like Superman. I just thought it was a bit last time. I don't know. I could be wrong. Like it just seemed like it was dragging. I don't know why Levy couldn't have got on the phone and the people that were there just to say, "Oh, just do a loan deal and it's done." I don't understand why he had to take over the deal. That's what kind of like. But in terms of actual Porro, I'm happy that he's coming in and we're moving out someone that's been with the squads. Remember, Doherty came from Wolves, and Doherty didn't really win anything with Wolves, whereas Porro has won at Sporting, and Sporting hadn't won a Premier Division for over 19 years. So I feel like with his youth and his winning mentality, his winning experience, the trophies that he's bringing with him, we're kind of scaling up. So in terms of squad depth and not even squad depth, sorry, in terms of mentality, that's what I wanted to say. In terms of mentality, I think he brings a lot. Before we bring players that hadn't won anything, and I need winners at the club just to kind of push that onto the players. And I feel like with Spurs, when we play some of our personality types, we kind of set off teams. And I think it's a personality issue because Conte said prior, he said, "Oh, I don't tell them to drop off. I don't tell them to sit back. They do that by themselves." So I'm just hoping with more assertive players or bigger personality types that we're going to be more assertive and hopefully push up the pitch from earlier on, and we're not going to be like second half FC anymore. I'm not saying it's going to change like instantly because Porro's come, but I'm just saying it's a step in the right direction that we've got like a player that's won stuff into the club and we're kind of replacing like a player that hasn't won stuff, if that makes sense. So that's my thing with Porro. Obviously, the obvious is that his dribbling ability is able to cross a ball that Emerson can't do. Even Doherty wasn't really crossing balls into the box. I think he brings that as well as his obviously shots on goal, shots on target. I think he also brings a good defensive balance as well because in the Champions League we have seen his stats that he can defend as well when needed, and he's gonna need to do that, especially if he does come against Man City. I don't know if he'll start, but yeah, I think that might be a factor.
Obviously, we're expecting a big change now with Porro coming in the team. But do you think we're expecting too much if we think that he's going to come in and revolutionise how we play and stuff like that, or do you think he can be that kind of a game-changing player?
No, I think it's too much too soon. Too much responsibility for one player. I think last window where we needed, it was different last season because we had Bentancur, who. Like we needed a midfielder that could pass the ball, you know what I mean? And when you've got a midfielder lieutenant, that makes a big difference to how your team ticks and how your team plays and it controls the tempo of the game. And then you've got an attacking player. That was something that completely revolutionized Son's game because before the first half of the season, Son wasn't really banging last season. And then Kulu steps in and then all of a sudden Son gets golden boot, you know what I mean? So I just feel like this time Porro is on the right wing. We needed that from the summer. We needed to improve that straight away from the summer. We knew that and we didn't address it. And now we have. But I don't expect it to revolutionize Spurs straight away. I feel it'll add to our attack and I think we'll improve and we may get a few more goals as a result of it. But I don't know if it will happen straight away because the guy needs time to bed in, understand the tactics, and understand the way Conte plays. And I saw like a quote say now that the Lisbon coach said, sporting coach said, yeah, you're now Conte's son. So that tells me everything you need to know. He needs to learn the ways of Conte before he gets bedded into our team. So I don't think he will start straight away, but hopefully he does hit the ground running and he just lifts the players and lifts the squad, and he kind of has that kind of Kyle Walker impact. I think that's what everyone's hoping. He's like a Kyle Walker, literally just running at players, bursting down that flank, and then whipping the balls up, because that's going to get bums off seats. And I feel like when you've got players like PORRO and they get bums off the seats, that kind of lifts the crowd. And then when the crowd's lifted, that then goes onto the team. The energy levels of the team will come up. You know what I mean? So that in itself could be a massive plus for Spurs. But I don't expect it to be like straight away, like boom, oh my days, he's going to help push Spurs up the table. I think it will help. But yeah, just not as big as impact as I think everyone thinks it's going to have.
Let's talk about the Matt Doherty deal. I mean, it's something that just came out of the blue today. He's gone to Atletico Madrid. Medical, I think, has been done. What's your opinion on it? Have we left ourselves a bit too short in that position now? Would you have liked to have seen him stay? And where did that move come out from?
It came out of nowhere. That's where it came from. But Doherty, I just felt he was the older of the two.
Yeah.
I thought he was the older of the two. And I just think because he was the older of the two, I just feel like the club's philosophy is like young youth. We just want youth. We want players to kind of grow with each other. And I know Emerson is trying his hardest. I know the coach can see Emerson's really trying. I think that's what edged it for Conte to keep him over. Albeit I think Doherty's the better of the two. I just feel like because Emerson's 23? Is he 23, 24? He's young. So he's got time to improve. And I just think defensively, if needed be, you could bring him on and we could shore up games. So you could kind of switch up. One, you've got more attacking in PORRO, and then one, you've got more defensive. One's got more defensive capabilities. So sometimes when you need to switch up, and supposing we just need the left wing back to push up, and we just need the right wing back to sit back to help the back three or the back two when we push on, then I just feel like Emerson's defensively more minded. But yeah, 1,000%. Like I feel like Doherty attacking wise is night and day above Emerson. Like he's still got a long way to go. But like I said before, just seeing that little cameo in Fulham, him coming inside and becoming like an inside midfielder, turning our midfielder into a free, I thought that was another part of his game we could develop, and tactically could be more aware in that system. We could switch things up and not be so overrun in midfield, which loads of fans have been complaining about. So yeah, Doherty's a miss, because I did see the benefit of Doherty because he could play on both wings and he was more of a wing back out of the two. But I just think the age profile and ceiling had a huge factor in why Doherty went over Emerson, and the fact that Emerson never wanted to leave as well. Emerson was digging his heels in, saying, no, the only way I'm leaving if it's a London club. And I couldn't see another London club coming in for him, unless it was maybe Brentford. But nah, I couldn't see any other.
He handcuffed himself to the goalpost
yeah,
the Hotspur way, apparently.
Literally. He said, I'm not leaving. I'm not going.
Oh.
I think your internet's a bit choppy.
Is that me? Let's break it up.
Yeah, I think your reception's a bit dodgy. So I'll ask you just this one last question. What's the rating out of 10 for the window?
Is it me? I might have to use my other phone. I might have to use my phone.
Can you hear us?
I'm using my laptop. I don't know if it's that.
Can you hear us?
I don't think he can hear us.
Is it me? Is it me? Yeah?
It's you.
Oh, shucks. You might as well take me off. I can come back on if you want.
All right, Ashmatic, we'll leave it there. Thanks for coming on today, bro.
Explore the world.
Oh.
Ah, snap. All right, cool.
See you,
in a bit.
Nice one.
Ashmatic, thanks for coming on, man. We do have more guests to bring. I can see Luke Dimond in the back, but his camera's not on. So once you turn your camera on, we can bring you on. But there we go.
There he is.
There we go. Let's bring Luke on. How you doing, Luke? Oh.
And he's on mute as well.
I think
the trifecta.
I think we're going to have to get him to reconnect.
Can you hear me or? No?
It's all right, actually. He's all right now.
Yeah.
How you doing, Luke?
Yeah, not too bad. I'm full of cold and I'm at work, so I probably sound like shit. And if someone comes in, I'll have to jump.
No problem, no problem. But talk to me about your feelings about the window so far.
I'm relatively happy with it. I didn't think we were going to go out and get like an all-star centre-back anyway this window, if I'm honest. So I wasn't expecting that, so I'm not disappointed.
And obviously we brought in Dan Juma and Porro. Porro's obviously the big one out of the two. It's just so good to finally see a top-quality right wing-back come through the doors, isn't it?
Yeah, I'm just hoping that people kind of understand fully what he is and don't jump on him if he starts being a little bit lazy in defence, because he does have a bit of a reputation for that from what I've seen. He's just an all-out attacking right wing back, which is what we need, and I'm glad we've got. But yeah, I hope if a couple of mistakes creep in, people don't just start giving him shit.
In terms of our outgoings, Spence, Gill, and now Doherty look to be leaving on deadline day. Well, Gill's already left, but what's your thoughts on the outgoings? Are you happy with them? Do you think they're surplus to requirements, or do you think maybe we could have done with them staying?
No, I'm happy with them all going, because like Hill's not going to develop at the rate we need him to with the amount of minutes we can give him. So it just makes perfect sense for him to go out. It's a shame it's not in England, but it's still sensible for him to have a loan. Doherty makes sense going for me, because I don't think Doherty's great at either end. Do you know what I mean? At least with Emerson, we know he's a donkey going forward, but he has put in quite a few really good defensive shifts for us. So at least we know that option's there if we need to play that way. Whereas I don't think Doherty is particularly good at either end. So he's just a wasted squad player for me.
Yeah, I hear that. Do you reckon there's any chance he goes to Atletico and maybe does what Trippier did and really improves as a player and we can come back a better player, or do you think it's a bit of a different situation?
Yeah, I can't see it. Hopefully he proves me right. I can't see it. I don't think there's much of a player there, really. I mean, he only, from what I remember, which might be wrong, he only really had one decent season at Wolves. So it's not. I don't think there's any gem there that's out of form or anything. I just don't think he's at that level.
And with the way our squad now is set up for the second half of the season, with the window fast approaching, the closure of the window, are you happy with where the squad's at? Do you think we have enough to go forward a second half of the season to really have a good second half, or are we a bit short for what we need?
I think we've got a really decent squad, to be fair. I mean, it's injuries that have killed us for the first half of the season. We've had a lot of injuries, and it's been players that we just can't afford to miss. So it all depends on injuries for the rest of the season, really. But I'm happy with who we're adding. We're adding quality and the right sort of ages. So fingers crossed we just have a clean bill of health for the rest of the season.
All right, suppose go on.
Rating out of 10, Luke, for the window?
6 to 7.
Yeah, I think that's fair. I mean, I'd say anywhere between 5.5 to 6.5 probably. I'll probably settle on a 6. So yeah, I think you're right there. But Luke, thank you so much for coming on today, my friend, and we shall speak to you next time.
Cheers.
Come on.
Nice one.
Come on, you Spurs. Is there... look who we have now. Look who we have now. Get it right, KPV. Come on, get it right. How you doing, KPV?
Oh, no.
I told you to get it right, KPV.
He's on mute.
I'm back.
He's back, baby.
I'm back, brother. You know what day it is, people? It's my favourite day of the year. It's deadline day. It's deadline day.
that should be the theme tune on Sky Sports. I think they should get KPV to write it. Unbelievable scenes. Are we going to have a good deadline day, KPV? We signing anyone?
That's normally Brian Daigle that normally tells us, but yeah, since Brian Daigle's not in today, I'm covering for Brian Daigle. So yeah, we're gonna have a good deadline day, but I think we made a mistake of letting the Irish Cafu go into Atletico Madrid. Like, seriously, man, Emerson Royale's still not good, even though he's had a good few games. But letting him go to Atletico, I'm sorry, is just a disgrace.
Disgrace.
Yeah, man. Like, players who've played for Atletico Madrid have come to the Premier League. Like Thibaut Courtois, Felipe Luis, Diego Costa, David De Gea, and I don't know if there's anyone else I'm missing. Anyone, please let me know.
Aguero.
Yeah, that was for Man City, blood. That was 38 million, 2011. But less of that, I don't care. But we need a centre back, and I hear we're looking to do a deal with what's his name from Wolves,
Max Kilman.
Max Kilman, like Kilman, eh? Why not? Centre back. Why can't we do last minute deals, man? Why can't we do last minute deals? Like I said to Brian Daigle last year that some of these deadline day signings don't beat Rafael van der Vaart, I'm afraid, and he even agreed. So it doesn't beat Van der Vaart's deadline day signing for us in 2010. So people want to say that does. Our survey says no. So you can all get that straight.
Yeah, but look. I definitely got that straight, KPV. You can have that right. But look, we got to be happy with the Porro deal. Do you reckon... what do you reckon he does second half of the season? Do you reckon he comes in flying? Does he take time to bed in?
I think he'll take time to bed in. Like, hopefully he can score on the weekend against the team that apparently were going to try and get him back. But sorry, kids, you can't get him because we're getting him. And David Ornstein said yesterday the deal was off. Well, I had to block him on Twitter because that made me even more pissed off. Well,
oh no, you blocked Ornstein.
I had to block him because he said the deal was off. Like, every time...
he is a gooner after all, KPV. I don't blame you.
I don't like him, man. He is a gooner, but, like, this is Tottenham only, not other channel blood. Like, Tottenham only, people. So, but, like, we're still in the FA Cup. Wrexham or Sheffield United, I'll take. But Porro and Danjuma, like, I'll give the window a 5 or a 6 or 6.5. But, yeah, that's how much I'd rate it. But,
all right.
Carl. Yo.
Nice one. Cheers for coming on, man.
Yeah.
Appreciate you, Carl, as always.
Yeah, and I'm going to the AC Milan game at home in March. So I'll be seeing Dave and Jack and Dermot there, and I'll be seeing you, jabronis, there. So
you bet.
You bet. Peace.
You bet. Peace.
See you later, KPV. See you later.
See you, lad. Over and out.
Cheers, mate. Is that it? All right. That is all we have time for today. We will be coming on later on today once the Porro deal is announced. So we'll bring you the announcement and the videos and everything like that. So we'll bring you some content surrounding that. And obviously, if anything does materialize later on deadline day, we'll keep you up to date with that, albeit I'm not expecting much from now until the end of the window. So I think we will be closing it with Danjuma and Porro as our only signings. But thank you, everyone, for joining us today. We'll see you very soon. Like, subscribe, and comment. And as always, come on, you Spurs.